The World Team Championship starts on the 13th, 4 days, Mechelen in Belgium, 46 nations, 368 players, 7 rounds. It is the biggest concentration of good Warhammer players that happens all year. The lists went in on the 27th of July, and they are locked, which means we can read every single one of them before a die gets rolled. So that is what I have done. 368 armies, all of them through our own list parser. Usual note on where this comes from: everything here is BCP, and nothing here is a result, because nobody has played a game yet. This is what 46 countries decided to bring. And a heads up on the names. 46 nations means I am reading out players from right across Europe and Asia and everywhere else, and a good few of those names are not English. I have gone through them and I have checked the ones I could. Factions first. Orcs and Emperor's Children are joint top at 36 players each, just under 10% of the field apiece. Chaos Demons 31, Necrons 30, Tau 26, Thousand Sons 24, Custodes 21, Tyranids 20. Now hold those next to what those armies are doing at ordinary tournaments. Orcs are the best win rate in the game right now, 56.9 across 309 lists since the edition started. Emperor's Children 52.4, Thousand Sons 55.5, Chaos Demons 53.4. I ran the correlation because I wanted to know whether these teams are picking what wins or picking something else. Across all 27 factions, a faction's win rate in our tournament data and its share of this field come out at 0.73. That is a strong relationship. And I do not think that is 46 teams all having the same clever idea at the same time. Everybody can see this data now. It is on our app, it is on half a dozen others, and it updates every Monday. The armies that win are not a secret anymore, and it would be stranger if a room full of national teams had somehow not noticed. Now the bit I actually find interesting, and this one is a fair fight, same edition on both sides. Take what ordinary players are bringing to grand tournaments right now and hold it against what 46 national teams brought here. Emperor's Children are 4.8% of normal tournament lists. Here, they are 9.8. Chaos Demons, 3.5. Here, 8.4. Orcs, 5.9. Here, 9.8. Thousand Sons, 3.8. Here, 6.5. Put those four together and it is 18% of the ordinary tournament scene against 34.5% of this field. 127 seats. That averages out at nearly 3 of every team's 8 players on 1 of 4 armies. So the best teams in the world have concentrated roughly twice as hard as the rest of us onto the same shortlist. And it is the shortlist you would expect. Those 4 sit at 56.9, 55.5, 53.4, and 52.4 in our data. But I think reading that as just picking the winners undersells what these teams are doing. In a team event, you are not only asking which army is good, you are asking which army is good into the other good armies. If everybody in this hall is bringing orcs and Emperor's Children and demons, then the thing you want is the army that handles those, and that is a different question with a different answer. What you are looking at is not 46 teams copying a leaderboard. It is 46 teams working out the counters to the same shortlist and arriving in roughly the same place. One thing not to misread on the way past. Space Marines look thin here, 10.9% against 11.6 in singles, and every one of the chapters looks thin next to their singles number. That is not taste. Only 1 player per team is allowed anything with the Adeptus Astartes keyword, so 46 teams have 46 slots between them for every flavor of Marine there is. They used 40 of the 46. Marines are not out of favor here. They are rationed, and they are nearly maxed out. Here's the thing about a team event in 11th that I do not think has been talked about enough. Your force disposition is not entirely your choice anymore. Games Workshop's Teams Pack says that within a team, for every 5 players, rounding up, Only one player can select each disposition. A team here is 8, so all 5 dispositions have to be covered by somebody, and only 3 players on the team get to take a second copy of one. Now the easy read is that somebody on every team draws the short straw and gets stuck with whatever is left. I do not think that is what good teams are doing. If you know you have to field all 5, then covering the awkward ones becomes part of picking your 8 in the first place. You bring a player whose army genuinely wants to be on disruption rather than handing disruption to whoever is last in the room. And you can see the cap in the numbers either way. At ordinary singles tournaments, of the lists that record a pick, Take and Hold is 28% and Purge the Foe is 27%. Reconnaissance is 13.7 and Disruption is 7.6. Those two are the unloved ones. At this event, Reconnaissance is 22.3% and Disruption is 14%, both roughly doubled, and Purge the Foe fell from 27% down to 16%. The whole spread flattens out. Priority Assets 23.8, Take and Hold 23.8, Reconnaissance 22.3, Purge 16, Disruption 14. That is not 46 teams independently deciding they like disruption. That is a cap doing exactly what a cap does. Every fully recorded team I could check obeys it. 12 for 12.
All right, 4 teams.
One housekeeping note first, because you will hear me name a few clubs as we go. Those come out of BCP. Off the team events, these players have already played this edition. Where BCP does not give me one, and I do not otherwise know, I will not name a club and I will not name a team. I would rather say nothing than put the wrong badge on somebody. Same goes for form. Some of these players I could find recent tournament history for, and some I could not. And where I could not, I am going to say so and leave it there rather than read anything into it. Right, we start where you would expect. The United States, captained by John Lennon. They won this thing in 2018, and across 14 appearances, their average finish is 6.6. The last 4 runnings, 4th, 2nd, 5th, 3rd. They do not miss. 5 of the 8 have been before. 14 World Team Championships between them. Anthony Vanella, John Lennon, and Brian Sipe have 4 each, and Sipe's first 2 were for Scotland before he switched. Vanella is on Emperor's Children, Carnival of Excess with Frenzied Host, on Reconnaissance, which is the package that took 2 undefeated Grand Tournament runs the weekend before last. Lennon takes Dark Angels and 5 Landspeeders. Wesley St. Hines drew Disruption and answered with 25 units of Guard. And the one I would watch is Brian Doherty, who is making his debut. He won a Grand Tournament 5-0 in the middle of July with Chaos Demons on Legion of Excess and Warp Tide, and that is exactly what is in the envelope. And I will put my own cards on the table about the captain, because I have been watching John Lennon play for years. The Boy King, Art of War. I am a huge believer, and I have been for a long time. He has taken this team to 3rd, 5th, 2nd, and 4th. The one thing missing from that list is the top of it. So the thing I will genuinely be refreshing my phone for this weekend is whether this is the year he takes Team America all the way and wins the whole thing. England next, Captain Tony Chu. On paper, they are the strongest history of the 4. 16 appearances, an average finish of 5.9, and they have actually won it twice, 2012 and 2019. But look at the last 4, 5th, 5th, 7th, 12th. 12th is their worst result since 2007, and this is a young squad in World Team Championship terms. 6 of the 8 have played before, but only 8 appearances between all of them, against the United States 14. Their most experienced player is Nassim Fushan on 3, and he takes Space Marines on Reconnaissance. The 2 with recent form both have it on the exact thing they are bringing. Greg Chamberlain went 4-1 for 12th at the Battle of the East on Assimilation Swarm with Talons of the Norn Queen, and that is his list. Alex Fowler won an event on Thousand Suns and brings Grand Coven. Sweden, Captain Albert Hafenstrom. I owe you some honesty on this one. I could not find recent tournament history for any of these 8 players. I looked properly, and I came up with nothing for the whole squad. I am not going to build a story out of that, because I genuinely do not know what it means, and anything I said about it would be me guessing. So their rows are empty in this report, and that is why. It is a gap in what I could find, and I am leaving it as a gap. What I can tell you is the team. 17 appearances, every single running since 2007. An average finish of 6 flat. They won it in 2009. Their last 4 are 7th, 4th, 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 which is the steadiest run on this whole board. 7 of the 8 are returning, and there are 18 World Team Championships between them, which is more than any other squad we have looked at today. Jonathan Slay Johnson and Axel Redeen have 4 each. So whatever the last few weeks have looked like for them, this is not a team anybody should be surprised by. And Australia, Captain Eric Lathoris. They won this in 2022, which is the only title in our 4 teams that came in the last decade. Then 3rd, 11th, 6th. The catch is that almost none of that squad is here. 3 returning, 4 appearances between the 8 of them. So this is very nearly a new team wearing a champion's shirt. Liam Hackett is the pedigree in the room, and it is a particular kind. He won the individual singles competition at the 2022 championship. Now, Australia is the one team where our data has all 8 of them, and I have to be straight with you about why. All 8 played the same tournament, Shark Tank Winter, on the 10th of July. So that is not 8 separate reads on 8 players. It is one afternoon in one room, and several of them will have been beating each other. Lathoris and Hackett both went 5-0 at it. If you have never watched a team round get set up, this is the part worth knowing. Both captains secretly pick one player to be their defender, and they reveal at the same time. Then, both sides secretly pick 2 of their remaining players as attackers into the other team's defender and reveal those together. Then, each side chooses which of the 2 attackers pointed at them their defender actually plays. The other one goes back in the pool. So 2 games get locked in, tables get chosen, and it runs again with who is left. At the end, the last 2 refused players are shoved together whether they like it or not. And before anyone asks whether this is new, it is not. I went and dug out the pairing guide this event was running in 2022, and it is the same 8 steps word for word. What is new this edition is that Games Workshop have now written this procedure into their own Teams pack rather than leaving it to the event, and the disposition cap I talked about earlier. The machinery for choosing opponents has not moved. What you are allowed to put into it has. The reason that matters is what it does to a list built to beat one specific thing. You can still aim it, you put it forward as one of your 2 attackers, but the other captain is the one who decides which of your 2 they face, and they will not pick the one that scares them. You are offering, they are choosing. Quick word in the middle. Everything I just read out came from Wardrill. Faction pages, the disposition matrix, list checking, all of it, on iOS and Android and the web. Links below. And if the show is useful to you, a like and a subscribe is genuinely how anybody else finds it. My Patreon supporters keep this running, and I do not take that for granted. That is what 46 nations are taking to Belgium. Orcs and Emperor's Children at the top of the field and the top of the win rates. Death Guard and Chaos Knights very nearly gone from an event they used to fill. A disposition cap that quietly hands somebody on every team a mission nobody asked for. Games start on the 13th. When the results are in, I will come back and we will look at what actually happened to all of it. Test it on the table, trust your reps, and I will catch you at the next transmission. This is Sarv from Wardrill, signing out. The names going up now are my Magos operators on Patreon. Pulling 368 army lists apart before an event nobody has played yet is the kind of thing I get to spend a day on because these people pay for it. So, genuinely, thank you.